Jean-Pierre snaps at reporter who waited 4 months to ask a question. "You're wasting our time, sir." National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby was answering questions during Tuesday's press briefing. White House Press Secretary Jean-Pierre snapped at a reporter who said he has not gotten to ask a question in 4 months on Tuesday. National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby spoke at the White House press briefing to provide additional comments regarding U.S. involvement in Ukraine. The Frontier Post managing editor Jalil Afridi was allowed to ask Kirby a question when he requested if he could have 2 questions after being passed over for months. "Mr. Kirby, I'm getting a chance after 4 months, so I hope I can ask just 2 questions, Afridi said. It's up to Karine, Kirby responded, gesturing to the side where the press secretary stood. Right? I mean, after that statement, that leaves you with 1 question, Jean-Pierre said, as some in the room reacted with laughter. So, should I combine them? Afridi clarified. I think you're wasting our time, sir, Jean-Pierre fired back. Can you please ask a question? Afridi then proceeded to ask Kirby about Pakistan's involvement in Ukraine, as well as pushback against President Biden by Pakistanis after Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan's ousting and imprisonment. The remark resembled a similar complaint from Today News, Africa chief White House correspondent Simon Ataba back in March. At the time, he claimed that he had not been able to ask the press secretary a question in 7 months, leading to a chaotic outburst. This is not China. This is not Russia. What you are doing, you're making a mockery of the First Amendment, Ataba said. Jean-Pierre later remarked on the incident with Ataba, saying, as you know, this is the White House press briefing room. A historic room. A room that should have decorum. A room where folks should respect their colleagues and respect the guests that are here. And I understand that there's going to be give and take. That's the way the press briefing has gone for decades before me. Jean-Pierre also recently ignored a question Monday about there being no seat in the press room for disabled journalists as Biden was celebrating the Americans with Disabilities Act. Karine, about disability. There's no seat here in this room for disabled journalists, the reporter remarked. The reporter again said, this room has no seat for a handicapped journalist, as the press secretary left the podium at the end of the briefing and was ignored. Another reporter could be heard saying, thank you for asking that, as Jean-Pierre left the room.